What it is, RJLA family. I am Angela Birdsong, your conversation piece host on RJLA Morning Wake Up Call at radiojustice.org, where something new or unusual to talk about for stimulating conversation for you on the bus, train, plane, or simply at the water cooler or in Cubicle Nation. It's day 29 for No Destructive Music, No Destructive Lyrics, 60-Day Challenge. We're halfway there, you guys. Keep holding on long and strong until May 19th. Join the detox. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out my show from March 20th with Clear the Airways Project with Brother Kwabena Rosoli, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about when we say the No Destructive Lyrics 60-Day Challenge. Today on Conversation Piece, I have a co-host, Melvin Farmer of HiTTinCornerzEnt, who's joining me today, and we're going to be talking about senseless gun violence, actually the other side of senseless gun violence. And we have guest Gilbert X, who is with us. But first, let's talk to my co-host, Melvin Farmer. Melvin Farmer, welcome to Conversation Piece.
Thank you for having me, Angela. Today we're going to be talking about a young man named Gilbert X, who did over 30 years of his life in prison, came back and changed his life around. And I thought that this story should have a voice, the way other people should hear about this. A young man that had four brothers, actually, an older one named David, that was brought into the family, but three of his brothers were slain by senseless gun violence and not at the hands of law enforcement. So a lot of times we'll hear about law enforcement and everybody jump up when a murder happened in another state or whatever, but a lot of times we don't hear about things that are affecting us right in our backyard. So I felt, me and Angela, that we have enough people that complain about police brutality and senseless gun violence, but very rarely do we hear of a gentleman like Gilbert X that can address both sides of the barrel. He's received that phone call where a loved one has been lost. He's been able to feel the pain of his mother. I was there that night when Frank, that's the youngest one of the three that we're going to discuss tonight, was murdered in 79. I was 21. I had spent the night over there when the news came. And I never will forget, his grandmother was there, long, pretty red hair. His mother was there, long, pretty red hair. Cutes was there. Rusty was there. We all was there. And I never did forget that night. And I never did forget Cutes, who we end up meeting that same year when he got sentenced to a life sentence. A couple of months later, we met up in the guidance centers at Chino, and actually this is our first time talking since 1979, and basically that night. So this is a special program for you listeners out there that you can learn quite a bit.
All right, so we're going to be talking about quite a few things here on Conversation Piece. As you see that the other side of senseless gun violence, we're going to have some different journeys that started when they were young and a lot of things in between that now today we're able to talk about the road to remorse, the road to recovery. And welcome to Conversation Piece. We'll be right back with the interview. And then we'll have music, and then we'll come back. Gilbert X, welcome to Conversation Piece. Yes. So you...
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good myself.
You're doing pretty good yourself? Okay. And from what I understand from the pre-interview, that the other side of senseless gun violence, that there's three brothers who were killed. So we're going to get into talking about what led up to those three brothers being killed, your relationship with Melvin Farmer, and just where we all are right now. with,
Yes.
recovery, remorse, and just hoping that others don't follow into the footsteps that you had walked in. But first, how do you and Melvin know each other? Melvin?
I knew Rusty, Miles Cutes, from about the 8th grade at the age of 12, 13. And I ran around with them basically every day when we were the West Side Magnificent Sevens. And actually, Rusty named me Scub from juvenile hall at the age of 13 when we went down this path of getting into the streets and into gang banging. So I knew their family through Bridget, which was Tookie's sister, and Lil Wayne and Vicky, the older ones, at the same time that Cute's name was meeting them with his older brother Mouse. So that's how I knew Gilbert X and their family. Now, Cute's, could you might have a different take, which is the same, but he can explain a little bit about our relationship also.
Gilbert, you there?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so how do you remember meeting Melvin?
I remember meeting Melvin in 1970 it was, and I knew that Melvin had already superseded me at Harsh Man, but I remember meeting Melvin at St. Andrews Park, and he was really lively, and he was funny, and he made people feel good. So I was feeling kind of blue that day, and then the first time I meet Melvin, he's making me laugh. So I was like, wow. So then we became friends from that day. He had already knew my brothers and stuff, and I didn't know that. And so it was cool. I always enjoyed being around him, taking him with me when I would be driving or going somewhere, and we used to go to parties and just, have fun.
You remember your car used to drive so slow, I'd get so mad at y'all creeping, I'd jump out the car and run down the street to beat them at the next corner. I mean, they could creep down the street. We'd be going, and their car didn't go 5 miles an hour when I'd jump out. But yeah, that was fun times. But a lot of people didn't know that during that time and earlier that you were involved in Catholic school. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
It was kind of funny because I went to St. Eugene's Catholic School early on. My mother tried to get us a parochial school education. She put my older brother Mouse up out of public school before me, and then Rusty went right after. Now they're going to get me in there, and I went in like in the 7th grade. But I liked it. They didn't like it. They were like, I don't want to wear a uniform. I don't want to do this. But I actually enjoyed it. So I became an altar boy. And I started participating in school, doing the activities in the school, getting involved, making a fun for myself. And so, I enjoyed the short time I was there.
Now, how many brothers and sisters do you have? How many of you guys were there, rather?
I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. One of my brothers was a brother out of wedlock, but he spent a lot of time over my house with us, so he was like my full brother. I didn't care if he had a different mom. We all had the same dad, and we all looked alike. And he was bigger than us and older than us, and he would take up for us, and he was a real nice person, and I miss him.
Right. So there was 4 boys and 1 girl.
Yes, my baby girl, my baby sister.
Okay, and you guys, in the pre-interview, you told me you guys came from Little Rock, Arkansas. Your father?
Well, my father, he migrated from Little Rock, Arkansas, like in 1948 or 47. Then he met my pretty mom walking down Central Boulevard from the Catholic school over there, down by Jefferson, down that area. And my dad, the way the story goes, my dad said he was in his Buick and he saw my mom. He would always look at her, and then he got up enough nose one day to not pass by and just wait on the corner, for her to come by with her friends. Because my dad didn't go to school, he just worked. And that's how he was. He never went to school. He he didn't have no education with books, but he knew how to do manual labor. He knew how to get a home for his family. So he met my mom, and my mom liked it. And he said from the first day he met her that they were, inseparable after that.
Now, when did you guys? Well, okay, so you and your brothers. When did you guys decide that? Okay, we're in school. We have this good home life, and now we're making other decisions, not so good decisions to do other things. When did that start?
That a significant emotional event that just ripped the flow out of my family is when my father died when I was 10 on his motorcycle. And I remember that day very well. But I noticed after my father died that people started trying to victimize my family. They started with my mom, and they just started, bad men, coming through and, just taking advantage of the situation that there was no man in the house. And we're kids, basically. Can't fight a man yet. And so I noticed I was building a lot of animosity within inside of myself. And my mother noticed it too, so she blanked the public school, so that's why she started sending us to Catholic school.
Okay, so your father died when you were 10, and so what did you guys do to think that you can do as young men, as young boys, to protect the family that led to a lifestyle of violence?
Well, my particular street, I noticed I was getting in a lot of fights, and I could say any fight's, avoidable, but I wasn't seeing the way out of these conflicts. I had a limited ability to deal with my conflicts, and I was using violence because I saw violence. And even though my father was a hard worker, he was a good man, he was abusive too with my mom. And so were my uncles, and they basically treated the women like the woman was their property. And so I grew up with that type of mentality too. And I suffered from delusions of entitlement. And I thought the world was a man's world. James Brown said it's a man's world. And I just heard that part. I didn't hear there would be nothing around a woman, in it. And I just started getting real bitter, especially when my brother told me all of those kids were going to come up there and beat me up. I always had a sense of wanting to protect myself with violence, not any other way. I couldn't think out of the violence box. So I would win some fights and I would lose them. And then I would just come back more angry. And, my brothers were watching me. And they were like, he has a bad temper. And I used to hear that all the time when I was a little kid. The teacher pinned a note on me and said, he has a bad temper. He doesn't play well with others. I had to go home with the note. I didn't know what it said. And my grandmother said, I don't know why that bitch put this note on my baby. And she tore it up, and I didn't find out what it said, until a couple of weeks later. I said, no, now that grandmother's so mad. And then she said, well, that teacher wrote that, phrase on you, and that's not right. And I said, because you do good well, and you do get along with others. You're not a bad person. Don't let nobody tell you that you are. But I started to believe that I was a bad person. I started to believe since no one treated my family good because I didn't have a father, and I started feeling ostracized at school, and, I just started getting quiet. I didn't talk a lot.
And that's ironic that you speak about anger from a parent, a father, abusing the mother, because at the age of about that time too, I believe about 71 or 72, my father was abusing my mother, but I had seen it, and it does build animosity and anger. It built it to the point of where I caught my father in the hallway and had to pull a gun up under his chest from hearing my mother cry. And that's what I had to do because, me and you was together and seen violence, senseless gun violence, since it started actually, and I couldn't accept that another man hitting on my mother or hearing my mother cry like that, and in return, that kind of set us on our path toward the streets. So I understand what you're saying when it come to hearing your mama cry, and it's kind of like it puts you at a advantage on the streets to where when somebody getting at me, I go automatically to thinking that you're trying to make my mama cry, so I'm gonna have to try to make you cry first, or one way or the other, and it ain't no in betweens. So I understand what you're saying for that, Angela. You want to continue on?
And so I would be like, okay, I ended up going to a juvenile camp, and I'm in the system for a curfew. I didn't like to go home, so I didn't like to go home because I didn't feel comfortable at home anymore, because I felt like it was strangers coming to my house. So I didn't like them. I knew I had a dad, and these motherfuckers ain't my dad. So I noticed when I went to East Lake Juvenile Hall, I met Ricky Silas in there. I met a lot of guys in there that I grew up with. I grew up in the hall. I've been arrested over 30-some times. I've been in the hall. I was a hall baby, so to speak. And I knew all the counselors knew me. I knew all of them. For the most part, they were pretty decent the way they treated me. They would, treat me pretty good. They were like, hey man, let me talk to you. You getting in a lot of fights over here. What's the problem? But I didn't know how to put a voice to what I was going through. The trauma and everything I went through. I didn't know. Because I was really introverted, and I didn't know how to express what I was, acting out. I didn't know how to paint a picture of it. It wasn't clear to me, and that's how I had a constriction there. I was stuck.
Right now, Gilbert. So you're getting caught with breaking curfew because you don't want to go home, and then you find yourself in juvenile hall. Now, how much longer after that does the other brothers find themselves going to juvenile hall, or did the other brothers end up going to juvenile hall too, or were you the first one to go?
It was the worst thing that ever happened. I had been in juvenile hall for several months, and because my mother said, "I'm not coming to get you out. I'm not going to let you come back out here and get killed. I'm going to just leave you in there until you tell me what I want to hear." And I was hard in the paint. I didn't want to tell my mom what she wanted to hear because I was mad at her because of her choices in Europe. So I didn't want to tell her anything. I was very upset with her. I was very selfish because my mother was fine, she was young, and she needed to have relationships after my father died. But in my little kid mind, I didn't understand that at all. That just messed me up. So one morning I woke up and my brothers felt the same way that I felt. One morning I woke up and all my brothers were in juvenile hall, except for my little brother, Mr. Lucky. He was too little to go. But Rusty was there, Mouse was there, all in juvenile hall together. They put Mouse in E and F. They put me in C and D. They put Rusty in S and T, the baby with me. And then, so the lady said, "Do you have brothers?" And I said, "Yes, I have brothers." She says, "Because on this list here, there's a lot of bells in here." And she said, "Your brothers are in here." I said, "No, they're not." And then, sure enough, my brothers were in here. And what I mean by the counselors were nice in juvenile hall, she knew that we were in there for discourageable and for curfews and for minor shit. And she knew that we needed to see each other. And she knew that we didn't know how to put a voice to our pain, but she could see the pain in us. So she would get the other counselors from those other units that she knew, and she would set up swimming exercises because there was a swimming pool there. And so I was invited to the swimming exercise, and I got in the pool. All my brothers were there. And they just sit back and watch the way we interacted with each other, and they were smiling at us and happy that they did something with humanity and something so good they didn't bring attention to them, you know, that they're being soft on some people that objectify as thugs or juvenile delinquents. I'm not human anymore now. I'm a juvenile delinquent. So now the police could treat me any way they choose to.
Right. So now let me ask you this, because and this may be a little off topic, but so you and your brothers, 3 of you guys are in juvenile hall, because the youngest he's too young to be in that type of facility. It almost sounds like it was more of a positive home life in juvenile hall for you than it was in your own house, or am I misunderstanding that?
Oh, no, I'm not describing the violence in juvenile hall.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
Oh.
Right, because when you're talking about the swimming and what have you, and, you know...
I'm trying to remember the good times that I had in juvenile hall.
Okay, okay.
There were very bad times in juvenile hall.
Okay. Okay, so clearly juvenile hall was not a place that you wanted to be. You would prefer to not be in there, but was home the preference?
Because you said it was a place that I wouldn't want to be. And you're right, because in juvenile hall, they lock you up in rooms. Only the certain kids, or I guess out in the little dorm setting, you know, and then some of the kids, if they write down that you have a tendency, you know, to fight, then you're going to be placed in the room. And they're going to take your mattress from you as soon as it turns, you know, as soon as the next shift comes, the guy would come in there and take my mattress. And I would start crying and cussing him out. And then I would give me a walk over to the home. Now I'm in the home, I don't have a mattress. And these were the bad people in juvenile hall. They thought they could punish us out of our constriction, but all they were doing was making us more, more bitter.
And
it's sad because some people got a sick need to want to punish kids, and they don't know how far to go with their punishment. You know, they take it a little too far sometimes. And when we hear about teachers who put kids in restraint holes and just, you know, overdo it, and we hear about cops who do the same thing. Then we got families who's whipping their kid not with a belt but with a clothes hanger or switches from a tree. And those things were common when I was a kid. Then the girls would come to school and they would have open up whelps on their leg and crying. And I was like, wonder why her legs are like that. I don't know why her legs are whelped like that and bleed blood. I don't know. But the teacher knows. I don't know what happened to her. And as soon as I asked her, she started crying. So I saw kids, you know, getting abused in juvenile hall. I was one.
You know,
I would be fighting.
It's ironic that you said you've been to jail 47 arrests, because that's unheard of in now in times to where you couldn't even get 3 arrests. And it's a common denominator and thread, because we met in 70s. I knew your brother's name, 69, 68. But that's a lot. I have over 50-something arrests during my history, and over 30 or 40 of them came between the ages of 13 and 17, because, as you know, I'm almost sure you didn't go to the adult facility but maybe once or twice in your whole life, and when you did come back, it was 30-some years later, whereas I got to run in and out, although, you know, it's a very selected club that we are part of. The over 30 years in prison, the over 40, 50 arrests as a juvenile, and having a life sentence, and the grace, by the grace of God, to be back out here to educate the public and tell the public.
I'm humble to be back out here. I'm humble that the Lord is giving me a chance to, try to save someone who came up, like I came up, and didn't know how to deal with the conflict within their area, their family, or their neighborhood, and they made a choice. See, it only takes a minute to make a bad choice and form a belief in your mind, this is how I'm going to be, and this is how I'm going to roll. Because little kids see everything fine. And look at the little kid that just shot up the school. he saw everything like final. It was like he didn't see a tomorrow that was happy, and he just went with all of that anger, and he just did that awful crime. And I bet you now he's in that cell in retrospect. He's like, what the hell did I do? You know, because he's never been caught before. And I have done a lot of time in juvenile hall, and I have been to camp, and I have been to Cleopatra, Gonzalez, and Rocky, and LP. You know, so I know when kids would crack, when they would be in the hole, and they would be screaming. And you know what kids are? Kids are pretty ruthless. They tease the kids that are crying. Like they make fun of them. You can hear a kid crying in the hole, you arguing at them, and you calling them names, and you're giving them more abuse. But you don't see it at the time because you don't got nothing to draw from. It's beautiful, it's sweet, and it's caring and nurturing. You're just giving the world more hate, you know, because you receive some. You know, that's how it is.
I'm your host.
Sometimes I think back.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought that you were going to pause right there.
Sometimes I think back, you know, in my clarity and recovery. Sometimes I can think back on certain things that I, you know, participated in, and it makes me feel sad. And I know I got a caring and forgiving God, and I know that's like the devil trying to get me down, you know, trying to get me to pick up and get high to get me out of this mood. Because a mood lasts longer than, you know, a feeling. You know, your mood is like, your feelings could be quick, you know, spontaneous. But your mood, it could go on for weeks, months. If you don't understand that you're in a mood, you know, you can pick up again and relapse. You know, because the mood is part of the relapse. In my life, I believe that.
I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, and you're listening to Conversation Piece on RadioJustice.org with co-host Melvin Farmer of HiTTinCornerzEnt and our guest, Gilbert Bell, as we talk about the other side of senseless gun violence. When we come back, we'll go a little bit further into the circumstances surrounding the deaths of his three brothers. Welcome back to Conversation Piece. I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, with co-host Melvin Farmer of HiTTinCornerzEnt, and our guest is Gilbert X. Gilbert, so take us to 1979 when the first brother was killed.
Well, what had happened in 1979, I can remember the day clearly. My little brother, the night when I came home, prior to him being murdered in the front yard, he was laying in my bed when I came home. And I came home pretty late because I had been out all night hanging out, you know, with my friends. And it was a very eventful evening prior to that night, and there was a lot of violence that had occurred. And so my brother, when he woke up the next morning, I said, hey, you know you slept in my bed, man. What's up with that? And I said, I started to wake you up, but I seen you were really sleeping, so I didn't bother you. So I went and got in your little tiny bed, and I went to sleep. So don't do that no more. And then he said, shut up. And I said, all right, punk. And then we were chilling, and then he said, he had his own little vocabulary. He said, you know the Stony Boys, that's the police. He said, you know the Stony Boys be messing with me sometimes, and this and that. And I said, well, they mess with all of us sometimes. He says, well, anyway, I was with this girl, and she got cut. I said, what? And I said, are they thinking you cut her? And he said, no, everybody know what happened. And I said, are you sure you need me to go around anywhere with you right now? He says, nah, everything's cool. So I went over to my big brother's house the next night, and we over there sitting in the living room smoking weed and playing Smokey Robinson, thinking about our girls. And the next thing I know, we get a phone call, and my brother gets the call, and I could tell by the expression on his face something bad thing just happened. And I'm trying to see what happened, and my brother starts saying, no. And then he rushed to Daniel Freeman, and my little brother expired before he got there.
So in 1979, Frank was slain in your front yard?
I never got to know. I heard that he got murdered. He waited inside of the house, back in that house, and break down and that.
Because I know that night and during that day, me and Rusty had been together, and we was over there that night, and that was a terrible night with that. And so how did...
Even to this day, talking about it with my clarity and my sobriety, there's still a part of me that feels, done. And there's a part of me that wants to do the done thing. But my intelligent mind overrules the done mind, so I got everything to check. But I was a gangster, and you know how gangsters sound upset.
So for you listeners out there, Frank was how old at the time? 14 in junior high school?
Frank was very smart, so he was about to enter Washington for the 10th grade.
So he was in the 9th grade. He hadn't never got a chance to enter high school, and was slain tragically in 1979.
Before his time.
Before his time. And that and then after that occurred, what was your mindset after that? Because after a little while, a couple of months later, another act of senseless gun violence took place, which led...
My mindset after that was I relapsed all the way back into gangbangism. Because, see, being in a gang, you sort of outgrow it once you get in high school, because you see it's not really attractive girls. It wasn't popular. They didn't have all this music and make it cool now. But back then, you didn't get no invitation to go to a party if you was a gang member. You had to, find out where the party was at. And then you go and turn it out. So, it wasn't cool. It wasn't a cool thing to be a part of. And so in 79, I just started, acting like I was younger than what I was. I started doing the same things that I was doing when I was 14, like my brother's age. I started doing those type of things in the street. Like I didn't care anymore. And then people were trying to tell me, hey, man, what are you doing? And then I was full of hate. I wasn't listening no more. And I was hell-bent on revenge. That's just how it was, man. I don't know, if anyone could have taught common sense to me, common sense. I didn't have a lick of common sense during this toxic state of my existence. And to give me a sense of what I was doing was right, I'm full of encyclopedia. And then not only little Lucky gets killed, then now my best friend, Roman Washington, gets murdered. So now I'm getting more angry. And the private Stanley Tiki Williams gets locked up. And he's no longer, I can't see him anymore. I can't go over in his house. I'm feeling isolated. I'm like, where's my friends at? My brother's gone, Stanley's gone, Raymond's gone. Yeah, I'm out here, feeling like I wasn't enjoying life. I lost my sense of joy. And the only time I felt any type of feeling is when I was high off PCP, and then it took away my feeling and numbed me, and then I was just like a zombie walking around. But I was a violent zombie.
Wow, a violent zombie. That's a lot. So first, your father died when you were 10, and then your mother started dating, and you started to, get into trouble, breaking curfew and what have you, finding yourself in juvenile hall. And then you started to not get in trouble again until your youngest brother had gotten killed. Is that what happened?
Yeah, because when I got out of the California Youth Authority, when I came home from the California Youth Authority, I had a lot of time to mature. I'm the Youth Authority. I'm around older guys, we talk to each other. So I had set this plan in my mind, but it's still a criminal plan. But it wasn't about gangbanging in the street, because I had made friends with all of my rival gang friends. I really knew all of them. I knew Swig. I knew all of these guys. And we became friends. And so it wasn't like we're hunting each other anymore. It's like we're cool with each other. We could talk. I remember Elgin used to come over to my house and park in front of my house, and I would come out and sit in the cabinet, and we would be discussing, you know, how to keep things under control, you know. And I remember Winston Weaver would pull up and come over there, and I would talk with him. And these are guys from another day. And that's how it was back then. People wasn't very scary back then.
Right.
If you grew up with someone swimming at Harvard Park, because that was the only swimming pool that everybody had to go to. I mean, if you lived down in the 60s where I lived, and Lucius taught me how to dive off the diving board. He taught Leslie how to jump off the diving board. And, you know, I can't say I hate Burns, you know, but I did fight him. I mean, Punkin, and a lot of these guys. I mean, you got to look at it. Those guys' gang started before my gang. You know, so that's how that went.
Now, in 1979, did you commit another crime in 1979? Was there a murder conviction that occurred?
I got out of YPS in 78, and then in 1979, after my brother was murdered, and my friend Raymond Washington was murdered, and prior to that, Cookie had got locked up before me, and Frank even got murdered, but it all took place in 79. And in 79, I tragically got involved in an awful crime, and I received a life sentence. And when I was locked up, I continued, you know, to prescribe to violence. I didn't want to stop. It was like I was on this mad trip, you know, and I couldn't stop myself. But I was making the choices to move forward with more violence. And it was like I became institutionalized in the sense of being, you know, just a straight rider. You know, I was a gangbanger on the street, but there's a difference between a gangbanger and a rider. Because when you're inside of the joint, you're not going to have your gun. You do hand-to-hand combat. So.
Yeah, you check your guns in at the county back then. But let's get a little bit about through that conviction in 1979 after Frank's senseless gun violence incident of your first brother, because you received a life sentence later on that year in 1979. And we had talked earlier about how remorseful you were, and the words that you wanted to say today on this show to those that have not only lost loved ones across America, but in particularly about the case that you received a life sentence on. Could you tell us a little bit about your feelings now and how you felt in prison and how heartbroken, as you stated to me, and if you could redo it all over again, you would rechange the hands of time. And we would like other people to know that a lot of times we hold our heads in shame for the things we did, and we try to come back and give back to where we can make not only his mother proud, my mother proud, Angie proud, but to make this city proud, because, you know, we were involved in making it so unhappy. So maybe these words that you say right here to the family from 79 years ago will bring them solace and other people peace. So it's just some of the things, anything you'd like to say to those that were...
Well, I would like to talk to my victims. You know, my victims in the street, my commitment offense victims, my commitment offense victims. I would like people to understand that I take 100% responsibility for my bad choices that I made. And that if I had, you know, 2020, the retrospect, to see things, you know, how they were going to turn out, from wanting to use drugs and the one to join a gang, and, you know, the one to, you know, had this tough guy persona. And it was more than a persona. I really was a tough guy. And I would just want to have a different self-image, you know, of myself. And my brother would have probably never thought a gang was, you know, glamorous or popular to join, because certain people could make smoking a cigarette look cool. You know, certain girls can make wearing a short dress look cool. You know, but you're not old enough to put that on. You're not old enough to put it on. Right? To make those things.
Right.
To dress up, you know, and people, you know, like, man, this is out of sight. You know, so they would go home and think about me. You know, because when I was a little kid, I would go home and think about them. You know, the other cool kids. I would think about how cool they are. You know, and I want to be like that. But a man like this can be in the middle of me in it. You know, so it's like all the people that I hurt in my lifetime, sometimes God gives me clarity and he brings something so hard on me. And as soon as that comes, I say, thank you, Lord. I got to say a prayer for that person. Thank you for giving me that memory. Thank you for clearing the PCP, disaccurating out of my mind, and giving me clarity in these moments, Heavenly Father, to know that that was against me too. And that I need to ask you for forgiveness for that too. And, you know, that's how it happens sometimes. And for the most part, I realized that I wasn't a good person. See, some people don't understand that. They think that they were good people. I made bad choices, and from those choices, I felt, you know, I'm a bad person. But society felt that I was a bad person. And in part, they were right. Until the Rabbi Polak, you know, gave me clarity in that. He said, I'm not a bad person. Rabbi Polak said, you're not a bad person. They told you you're a bad person, but you made bad choices, very, very bad choices. And we could go back and change some of those choices, we would, but we can't. And we got here now before us as a good person, and he's not going to go back and relapse into that behavior again. And that's going to prove to the world that recovery is working in your life. So Rabbi would spend a lot of time with me, you know, telling me stuff. And I'm not, you know, a Jew. You know, and I'm not a holy roller. You know, like I said, I grew up in Catholicism. You know, I'm a Catholic. You know, it's like the gang that I joined. I just said I was from that gang. You know, I was a Magnificent Seven. I never tried to get in another gang. I never tried to get in a gang that had more leverage than me. Fact is, I was the only Magnificent Seven wherever I went.
Now, Gilbert, let me ask you this. When was the second brother killed? So the first brother was killed in 1979. The second brother. And what was his name? And what was the circumstances surrounding his death? David X. He was killed. He died from complications of being stabbed. And he got stabbed in his kidney. And so the person who was cheating, and he ran up on the cheating that was taking place, the person that they were cheating with reached over and stabbed him. He was rushed to the hospital, and while in the hospital, he was recuperating, as I was told, because I'm incarcerated in San Quentin at the time. And what happened is the person who cheated on him came up to see him because I guess they were full of remorse and everything, and because they were married. And so he jumped up, and when he jumped up, he ripped all of the things that were inside of him, and he bled out. Wow!
And what year was that?
That was 1973. So
that's the oldest one. Let me interject. That's the oldest one, David. That was not born, but from your father's side, correct?
Correct.
Now let's go after 79. Let's jump to I think the next one that was to senseless gun violence was Mouse.
Yes.
Okay.
But I want to say something about
David.
Go ahead. He was never in a gang. So David, he was not a gang member at all. He never joined a gang. He never thought about getting in a gang. So that's David. And so in 1986, Mouse was shot on 67, and it was crack related. And he lived for a whole year, but he was paralyzed. And my mom would go and visit him every day. And family members would go and visit him every day. And right before Mouse died, my first cousin, who rest in peace, Chucky, he said, I need to tell you something. And I said, what? He said, before Mouse died, I went to see him that night, and he told me that he should have paradise. And I said, oh, yeah, Mouse is real spiritual.
Come up to the mic a little bit, please.
Yeah, I said, if Mouse said he seen paradise, then he got a glimpse of paradise. He said, Mouse seen paradise, and that's what Mouse told me.
Wow.
And then the next day, Mouse expired. And I said, Chucky, I'm glad you told me this. And I said, no one has ever told me this. He says, because don't anyone know but me. You asking me questions, and then I'm answering them. No one ever asked me, what did I say the last time I saw him? But you asked me, so I'm telling you what he said.
So now you had been incarcerated going on 7 years now, 1986, and then you get the word in prison that your second brother has died in another decade. We done went from the 70s now to the 80s, where another one of your siblings has died because of senseless gun violence, not at the hands of law enforcement, but to the streets. All right, now, me and you was talking about that, about the senseless gun violence on the streets, and we was talking about as opposed to police brutality and misconduct when it comes to senseless gun violence with the police. And you had a very good take on that when it comes to not only inner city violence, but law enforcement violence, to where you would be a good spokesman, because we have a lot of people that sit and jump on police brutality when somebody get killed. But, where were the voices, and where are the voices? Because young men are still dying in the street every day as what occurred with your brothers in the late 70s, the 80s, during the 90s, and up now into the 2000s. So what is your take when it comes to senseless gun violence at the hands of police, to where you had the opinion that we can't group them all, that all law enforcement aren't bad, and we overgeneralize it just as far as like the public would say, Melvin or Gilbert X, they don't deserve a check and stance, they were former gang members. When do our past ever get where we don't have to live on our past or be subject to being judged because of our past? So I'd like your take on when it comes to law enforcement and they killing of a black man unarmed.
It's pretty sad, because I'm a G. I go all the way back to the 1965 Watts riot, and I lived in 18 and that in a gang-ridden neighborhood. The East Side Outlaws. That was the first gang I really, hung around as a child, because my auntie dated one of them. And the way that I saw police treat my daddy when they would pull us over, I mean, they would just try to slam him in the back of the hood of the car, and they would talk to him real mean. I'm a little kid in the car, like, what the fuck, man? The police are mean people, like that. And so I'm like, wow, and then they all of their own race, and I'm like, man, this ain't good. And so my dad would tell me, he would say, well, they're going to pull me over. And I said, well, maybe they won't make you get out of the car. Just stay in the car. And I'd be all scared for my daddy. Like that, I remember having those feelings. So I know that there are a lot of bad police in this world, but I know that when the bad police do raise their ugly head and they kill a person from another race, I don't like the fact that the chief, he doesn't really speak to the people to where they can understand what he's saying. He tries to say a bunch of words, or like gobbledygook words, and it frustrates the inner city even more. And I don't know why he would even, do a press conference. It would be better if he wouldn't say anything until he could grow and really say, you know what, I looked at the tapes, and this officer, he's going to get a trial, and he's going to be held accountable. But from what I see in these tapes, I see the same thing that you guys see. You ain't got to say but that much right there. I see the same. You can generalize that. Now, all of us don't see the same thing when we look at a tape. So he could cover it like that. Now we know he's a chief of the people, not a chief to cover up for his, choices to form this type of a squad. It's funny, man, because I grew up on 68th Street. Ricky Pierre, my childhood friend, he grew up to be a cop. My first cousin, Ricky Pierre, he grew up to be a cop. I'm talking about a cop with a badge. On 74th Street, in the corner of 74th and Hardale, there was a cop that lived right on the corner. His two sons were my best friends in Raymond Avenue Elementary School. There was another cop of a gang member, my best friend, named Minnesota. And Minnesota's uncle was a cop, and he lived right off of Wilson. I can say where these guys live because they're not still alive. They're probably gone. And I'm not in any way trying to endanger their lives anyway, but these people are nice. They would actually come outside and talk to kids. But it didn't make any difference in my life, but I knew that those cops right there wasn't the type of cops that would try to make victims out of someone holding a flashlight or a cigarette lighter or whatever. They didn't have cell phones back then. So back then the thing was, I thought he had something, it was a natural code. Or I thought he had something, it was a pack of cigarettes or something. I mean, it seems like training would benefit these cops more if they wasn't so damn scary. But some of them are really scary, man. I mean, they come in those black neighborhoods and the Mexican neighborhoods, and they just be like lying. They be like you think they're on something when they pull you over late at night. You be looking at the way they're acting, you be praying that they won't shoot you. That's all you be saying in your heart's pounding, and you're just praying that they ain't going to kill you. And, we shouldn't feel that way about our person. We shouldn't be having these stops. But then when we get, someone getting shot 19 times, 17 times, 40 times, 60 times, I mean, come on up and over here. I mean, what if someone's going to think and say, stop? I'm not even shot or not. Why are we shooting anyway? I mean, how many bullets do you think the killers really do?
And with and with that being said, Gilbert X, we're going to come back and we're taking a station break right now. You're listening to Conversation Piece with Angela Birdsong and guest Melvin Farmer, guest host Melvin Farmer, and we are here with Gilbert X, discussing his family bloodline and heritage, his life, his legacy, his remorse, his redemption. Join us here on Conversation Piece. Tune in, stay in.
At radiojustice.org. We'll be right back.
And we out.
Welcome back to Conversation Piece. I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, with guest co-host Melvin Farmer, and our guest is Gilbert X, who is speaking about the other side of senseless gun violence. Now, Gilbert, you've had all these deaths in the family, and I know we're talking about the brothers right now, but let me just ask you, what's going on with your sister at this point?
I could barely hear you. You broke up real bad.
Oh, what's going on with your sister with all this death that's happening?
Well, anytime you have so much violence in your family, and even though you're too high to realize it at the time, you think you're so self-centered. You think you're the only one that feels anything. At least that's in the first person, not in the second person. I thought I was the only one that had feelings. I didn't even consider, their feelings. Maybe I did consider their feelings. I could have used that as a deterrent to stop me from further victimizing people. But my mind wasn't running like that. Now, in retrospect, I look at it and they were in deep pain. Whatever affected, they're not criminals. My sister would have been at jail. My mom would have been. So they were really. I mean, that was her, that was her baby. She carried them for 9 months. That's why it's like a woman's body's her body. She carried those kids for 9 months. She chose to have those kids. And you see them cut down and not be able to take care of her at her own age. And I'm just blessed that God let me get out of prison from a life sentence and ensuring that I wasn't ready to get out early on, because I got denied parole like over 14 times, I believe it was. And I'm blessed that my mom is still living, because everybody else is gone. There's nobody left but me and my sister. You know, and like when I first got out, they were like, wonder how long is she going to stay out? They never told me this, but I know that's what they were thinking, because I never stayed out.
Right. Right. And how much time did you do?
I did 32 years and 4 months.
32 years. One straight 32 years?
Yes, straight.
And that doesn't include, wow, and that doesn't include the time in juvenile hall or youth authority.
No, I'm not adding that time with my prison sentence. If I added that time with my prison sentence, then it would just make me feel like, real sad. So I don't do that. I spend months and weeks and breaking up in juvenile hall. I don't want to blow my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm in prison for 42 years without a furlough for 4 months. And how am I going to deal with this shit without getting high? Because I got to quit using violence in order trying to get out. Mm-hmm. So Stanley Tiki Williams was a big help in that part right there. And my last brother getting shot, it really helped me too. My mom got shot when he did it. So Rusty was the last one. Rusty got murdered in 92. So all that kind of helped me. All that kind of helped me with taking some introspection within myself, and the rabbi helped me a lot too. A lot of people that were getting paid, that were drawing a check, they had this program called the CAT-T program. They don't have them no more, where they would take license, but you have to volunteer. You want to go. And I always was on the main line. I paroled from the main line, and I was out there with all my enemies that I was once fighting. And you spend in prison as long as I was, you see guys living. If you ran it away, the enemy each other when you get down on the 33. And then, we didn't have enough of the rough houses. I mean, we're not as young as we used to be, and people in our family were dying, and we're like, man, I didn't know this. I didn't know that it was going to turn out like this. I told young guys, I said, what these prisons are? They built 33 prisons in California, but they didn't build 33 universities. And I said, what these prisons are? I said, these are projects. I said, this is the Nicholson Garden. This is the Jordan Garden. This right here is the Pueblos. And my brother, he said, Gilbert, he said, you're not bullshitting out. I said, no, man, they made out of stone. It's like the projects are made out of stone. And they put a barbed wire around these bitches, and they got us in here to rot and die and hate ourselves and continue on this course to self-destruction. And I ain't doing it no more. I'm done. And I just stopped doing it. And I didn't have to check in. I didn't have to debrief for none of that shit, because I was never from a prison gang. I was the only one from my gang. So everybody said, you ain't going to mess with us, we ain't going to mess with you. So they watched me. They said that I wasn't trying to sleep them, and then it was good. They were happy. They was happy that I found a new way to live my life. I quit surviving, and I started living. And I started teaching people. I started teaching people how to deal with their shit. I started getting in groups, and I would talk to them, young people that had life sentences. One guy I talked to, he died the next day. He died the next day. And the only thing I got to say to him that night was, hey, man, how you doing? And he said, I'm all right. And the dude pointed him out to me. So they got kid there, got 15 life. I said, well, I'm just going to use it to him. I'm not going to, just shock him with it. I'm just going to, give him my story so he'll know that I don't already did 25 of mine. And that he could get through it, get a car, he's young. But then he won't beat that night. He made a drug cocktail and killed himself.
Let's change it and go right back something you just said now to where you said when you was in prison, you avoided the prison gangs? Because a lot of people don't know the dynamics of a prison gang when you check your guns into the county and be 21, 22, 23 years old, up in San Quentin to where it's your first time, and you have prison gangs, the BGF, the Mexican Mafia, the Vanguards, the Blue Notes, the Black Coats. And during this time, that was a real pressure from the young guys like us being 21, 22, our first time, second time in prison, really our first, to join these gangs which had other politics.
Because I almost forgot about this portion in Tracy Prison, Gladiator School. When I got to Gladiator School, I told everybody from L.A. I told Rooster from Pyrenees. I told all these guys, man. I said, look, man, we don't gotta be a part of this other stuff. We can all come together and represent ourselves. We could be within ourselves. And then they said, what do you mean? I'm a Crip. You're a Crip. I'm a Blood. I'm this, I'm that. I said, man, I don't mean shit in here. I said, yeah, we could be black coats. And then that way, I'm not using my name or my gang, so that's not disrespecting you. You're not using the name of your gang. You're not disrespecting me. But we could fight together as a unit. And someone from another part of town come try to push up on us with some ancient-ass bullshit. And if we do become a part of that, they ain't going to be with nobody's boy, peace packers and bitches. And I said, so I'm standing up to that. I'm not going to get into that bullshit. I'm a hardcore danger. I'm not going out like that. So I started with another brother out of Watts. And then, man, we took care of ourselves. We didn't try to create this criminal mind so that we were going to go back to the street and recruit people. No, we did this in a split second of necessity so we could just be who we were and roll like we were. We didn't put no rules on each other or nothing. We just did. Anytime that there's yard, we all go outside. I remember Big Cloudy Clay came up to me, and Cloudy Clay said, you know what, cute? He said, you're a damn youngster, man. And he said, I like the way you roll, man. And I said, Cloudy Clay, you about to go home. You don't even got to be a part of none of this shit. You're your way out to do it, Cloudy Clay. Cloudy Clay told me he was down with me. Yeah? Mm-hmm. That's what he said.
Now, is there another brother who died?
Yes, my last brother that passed away was Machine Gun Rusty. And Machine Gun Rusty, he came in through the early era with me. He was original. And he was a good brother, man. He was the type of brother that you could just sit up and listen to his stories. And he was very funny. He was serious. He was more like my father than I was. And he always had this deep respect for me. Whenever I made a decision to do something, even when he came to Tracy, and I told him, I said, the last time I saw him, I told him, I said, I don't want you to come out and cheat. I don't want you to come out to the yard. I want you to stay in your room. And he said, why? I said, do not ask me why. I said, when I tell you stuff, you just do it. You not let it go. And he said, okay, I'm going to listen to you. And then that was the last time I saw him because I ended up getting warmed up.
How did he die?
He passed away. He got shot, and he got murdered by his friend. And we got Doggy Dog out there. When the crack came on the scene, it was every man for himself. Whoever had the rock, they were in a shot caller in their neighborhood. They could have been in me from $10 too, but they could get some more crackheads that you grew up with to go and guard with them against you, your blood. So that's how anybody knows that these drugs knows that that's blood is real. So can't nobody say, oh, that brother is white. Oh, shit, they'll be saying, that's the truth. A busted, a little skinny white time dude could live in your neighborhood. He got a business mind. He got the rock. He can make a little clan around him of a bunch of fluff. And then he can have them, creeping and doing scatter this shit. But it ain't no big deal. That's just the way it is. Everybody know that that's how it was.
So that was in 1992, which was New Year's 1992, because I was in prison and got the word of Gregory Bell, which was Rusty, which was, once again, about my age coon boom since the age about 12 or 13. We ran together. We went to jail so many times, sniffing glue and walking down the street. And, you know, they family, wherever I moved, when I moved off 83rd, Cuse, Magnificent, 7, Rusty, they were all there. Then remember we moved to 63rd and 10th Avenue. Cuse and Rusty and them was there. Then I moved to 116th. And everywhere we moved when we grew up, this family was with me. So, you know, it saddens me that I knew all these gentlemen, and over the years that they lost their life. But even more sadder is after you come back from doing your time, you're still subject to the same conditions. And that's where...
Yeah, but it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me in the same state of mind that I used to entertain. And the major reason for that is that I don't use any type of, narcotic. I don't use any type of new altering substance. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't drink coffee. I mean, man, if you look at where I came from, where I was smoking a dookie stick every day, maybe twice a day, had a jar in the ice box wrapped up in aluminum foil, and I was dealing that crap and smoking it, and that's the way me and Tookie would do, and that's how we would roll. And, man, I look back on that insanity, and today, when you're sober, you make better choices. When you're sober, you can take care of yourself. When you're sober, people are hiring you. When you're sober, you're employable. But if you all fucked up, they say weed is legal now. Okay, who's it going to hurt being legal? Who's going to hire you to drive heavy equipment? Who's going to put you behind the wheel or something? Because the shit has a shelf life of more than 24 hours if you smoke it. So now, if they do random drug tests wherever you work, you come up dirty with THC in your system, you done lost your job. It's easy to get a job, but it's hard to keep it. And if you fucking with that bullshit, then you're not going to keep no job. And you think, I remember I would be so fucked up, and I would go home fucked up. I thought about
this is a clean show there, young player. Watch them F words. They'll get us censored.
Okay.
Actually, on radiojustice.org, since we're not under FCC regulations, but you can let it go ahead.
You can let it rip every now and then. You can throw an F word every now and then.
Let it rip, but
I don't like this. I don't like this down video. Okay, so here's what I'm saying. If you make these bad choices in your life, and you want to live a negative lifestyle, destructive lifestyle, then there's going to be consequences. And if you're a criminal, you do not weigh the consequences of your victim. Like, most criminals don't do that. They don't weigh the consequences of their victim. They look at the consequences, and when they're having this transitionary look, it's that they're sorry they got caught. I used to be sorry that I got caught. And why did I do that? I'd be praying in the backseat of the police car, praying in court that I don't get a lot of time. All of this. I didn't know what that was. And then when God don't answer your celestial Santa Claus prayer, now you hate him. You're like, oh man, I'm stuck in here now. God didn't answer my prayer. But God came to you with so much. He brought so many angels your way, and you just couldn't see it. And you were held bent on destroying your life. I'm an angel right now coming to you over media. And if you don't listen to me, and you hear how cool I am, how I talk, and I abuse PCP, you might not be as lucky as we do. Because I know you guys are out there doing Christian. I know that shit drives a trip. And you mix it up with PCP. So burn your brain cells. You're not going to get any back, because once you burn it out, they don't come back. Once your brain cell's gone, it's gone. So destroy your brain.
I have a question, and then we're going to wrap up and let Angie Birdsong close our conversation piece. But I have a question now that, we've went down the history of your bloodline. Since you've been out, have you went and seen the grave sites of your brothers and paid your respects? What has that been like? And what have you done?
Because when I hate the cemetery. Even, and I just don't like it. I don't like funerals. I don't like the cemetery. I don't like the way that the people, make a profit out of burying people, selling these expensive caskets. I'm against all of that. I don't like none of that. I don't like how some people are benefited from the death of people. I don't like that. So I don't like how much they charge for a coffin. I don't like when they give you a paper coffin because you ain't got a lot of money to buy a nice one. And I don't like that it's only a few families or maybe one that builds these damn coffins, and they got these prices jacked all the way up. I don't like the way that the mortuaries do their business. And it's foul.
Well, it's big business now, though. It's big business now when you talk about the big 5 churches, burials within the inner cities of Los Angeles. And it seems like the funeral homes, the parlors, the casket makers, they're staying in business on a daily basis to where if this happened in 79, then he had another brother killed in the 80s, then another one in the 90s, and it's still 2018, and that's still occurring. We need to try to really see who's leadership in this community to where we can still have 48 hours on TV that's lasting 10, 15 seasons. And then we're dying. We'll hear about a Columbine murder or the Parkland murder in Florida, which are isolated incidents. But ever since that murder, we've had at least 10 or 12 murders within our own city, within a 10-mile radius that not getting the news or the coverage that it get. So with that being said, we just had to shed another light about an issue that is being unaddressed, and that is the inner city senseless gun violence that needs to stop and try to decrease. And hopefully it has decreased since the early days, since 1966. It has been reported in 2018 that this has been the lowest level of gun violence. And Angie has been hitting the corners lately. Hold up, Q's. Let us speak. We can both talk simultaneously. And Angie, since she's been around and hitting corners, she's seen the violence and seen other things that are affecting this community that aren't being aware. So, Cutes, if you wanted to add on to that, you can say your piece at the end, and then we'll let, I guess, Angie, what you want to close it out after that, or what do you have to say? Let's let Angie speak a little bit. She's been taking the notes. What you been talking about?
Well, actually, Gilbert, if you can really just give us your last words, and what would you say briefly to someone that is on the same path that you were on?
If you are on a nice self-destructive path, then I already told you the enemy's up. You're going to lose family members. You're going to spend a lot of time suffering inside of a prison cell. No one's going to hear your cries. You're going to be in there lonesome, cold. You're going to be in there wanting to go home. You're going to get bad news that someone that you didn't pay too much attention to when you were out because you took their life for granted has passed away. Now you can't go to their funeral. You're going to see your family still being victimized while you're locked up because other people are prescribing the violence. And you're going to, not have a joyful life. And most people don't survive 32 years of tormenting people. They usually die in prison in a shorter period of time. Prison is not a nice place. This ain't no scared straight program. And I'm letting you know. You're out here with all your guns, and you're perpetrating your violence, but you're not going to have your gun when you go to prison. So you want to make a reputation by shooting people. Just remember when you get in all and you check in, you're going to run into people's brothers, cousins, so you have hurt. because your name is going around in there. They got family in there waiting for you. And when you get there, you just got to hope they don't put you in that cell at night with that particular person, because that has happened. That has definitely happened. So, it's time to wake up. It's time to quit using this type of violence on people in the city. Okay, what race you are, how you came up, or what's causing you to be so angry. It's time to reach out and get some help. Tell people what you're feeling, and start, talking to the few people that are trying to reach out to you. You not have a father like I didn't have a father after the age of 10. Right now, let me be your voice of reason. Let me be your father or your uncle right now. Just listen to my wisdom. I made it through. You may not be that lucky the next time. It'll be a shame for you to realize what I'm trying to tell you after you had already received the life. Look where Tiffy was at when he had his epiphany. The brother was on death row. I know what happened to my loved one. There's no suffering. When we talk about the suffering, we talk about the suffering of the victim. We don't talk about the suffering of the victimizer who becomes a victim within the process of being punished. So I can tell you all levels of punishment. That's all I want to say.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Gilbert, for sharing your story with us here on Conversation Piece. I am a praying woman, and I do pray that that God just continues to put order to your steps and continues to comfort you and heal you, and that He will bless the generations after you in your family. Yes. Okay. Well, Melvin, you have any closing words?
No, I'd just like to thank Gilbert X. This really was exclusive. He very rarely comes out to talk about this, but me and you was talking the other night, and you asked me, Melvin, have I ever talked to a psychiatrist or got mental therapy? A lot of us get therapy through talking through people that will listen to us. This was good therapy, not only for him, for me also, and it was good knowledge to you. And we hope you guys, male, female, you youths, you adults, you could take a message out of this, and maybe it'll save somebody's lives to where they can't join the group of 47 arrests, 50 arrests, or can't meet the criteria to do 30 years or better, or can't meet the criteria of being a part of having to have somebody receive that phone call to where somebody's on the other end of that line has been senselessly murdered or whatever. We don't want you to be able to join this Hall of Fame, which is really the Hall of Shame. We come here, I speak for myself. I know the damage I did in the community. He know the damage he did in this community. And it's a lot of us that know what we did, and we're not proud of what we did. We don't boast, we don't brag, we don't throw toasters. We just come back and try to give back. So with that being said, thank you for joining us on Conversation Piece. This was a special for Conversation Piece produced by Angela Birdsong and Melvin Farmer in conjunction with HiTTinCornerzEnt and Gilbert X Bell. We'd like to thank you, brother, and I'll be down there to see you soon, and hopefully we can talk again.
And for conversation, if you have Conversation Piece and Radio Justice family, if any of you guys are in need of drug or alcohol rehab centers and programs, there is a free national 24/7 confidential helpline number that you can call. 888-459-5511. That's 888-459-5511 for a free national 24/7 confidential helpline. And also, if you are in need of any type of free counseling, you can always go to NAMIUrbanLA.org. They have resources on there. They have peer-to-peer classes, and they also have family-to-family classes. So once again, thank you, Gilbert X, for sharing your story with us here on Conversation Piece. Thank you, Leslie Radford, the visionary of RJLA. Adam Rice, Program Director, Michael Washington of M. Wash Soul for the opening and closing theme song, and always you, our RJLA family. Follow us on Radio Justice, Facebook. Give us some love. Give us some likes, please, as you listen to us worldwide anytime on radiojustice.org. To replay, revisit, and review any of my previous shows, please go to radiojustice.org and click on Conversation Piece. If you have any show ideas, topics that may be of interest to you, please email me at mtasproductions@gmail.com. That's mtasproductions@gmail.com. I'm Angela Birdsong. Once again, thank you for allowing me to share this the special experience of Conversation Piece with you on Radio Justice LA Morning Wake Up Call. Remember to be on guard, stand firm in the faith, be brave, be courageous, and remember, let all that you do be done with love. And it's a wrap.
That was good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gilbert.
Okay, now make sure that you guys take out the bill part because Melvin made a slip off and you did too.
Oh, right. Yeah, we may not be able to take out the bell part. I'll try to let our editor know that part. Yeah. But yeah. Melvin's off. He has his headphones off, so he can't hear you right now about the bell part slipping through there.
Yeah.
My apologies, but is it okay if it does stay in there? Because I'm not sure if we'll be able to edit that out.
Okay.
No, are you okay? Because if you're okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I would really not like that part in there. But if we power this over it, then it's there.
Right. Yeah. I'll try to see if we can get that part taken out. I'm not really sure if we can not, but
okay, because it was only 2 slips.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This easily could have been a 2-hour show because your story, it goes very deep and so many different twists and turns in there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for letting me get back. So I appreciate that too.